What's up, everybody? Welcome to OMT, Open Market Trading. My name is Denzel. Super excited to go ahead and post a recap video on how the live streaming of my trades went. So I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a brief overview on how this week went for me. Please like, follow, subscribe to the channel. We'll totally appreciate that. And let's get right into it. So for the heads up, I will not be sharing my screen and showing you guys all of those trades. I do have the live trades. You guys can skim through it and see for yourself how that went for me throughout the week. So just go ahead and watch those videos. I would totally appreciate that. But to jump right into it, I can't say that this week of trading was a roller coaster for me, but this week of trading was really well planned out, and some great profit was made towards the end of the week. So I'm going to go ahead and basically illustrate to you how that took place. And if you guys go ahead and look at the P&L right here from Monday to Friday, you guys can see the growth on how I went from red all the way to green. So let's go ahead and get right into it, right? So I want to start off with Monday. Monday's trading was, even though it was a red day, I would like to say Monday's trading was not bad in my opinion. You guys may go ahead and look at the trade and be like, okay, he lost $335. But that day of trading, I really managed my risk well. I set my stop losses. I didn't panic much on Monday. I was okay with it. I would say one of the things that I did wrong this week was that I mixed up swing trading with day trading. And that's something that you don't want to do, because I was day trading, and as I was day trading, I had swing positions in my account. So even if I would have made money on a day trade, I was kind of losing because my swing trades weren't really profitable. And since they weren't profitable, it was kind of eating away at the money that I was making. And that's in this week of trading. It was eating away at the profit that I could have made. And I could have had a way bigger week than what I ended this week with. So I do advise you guys, if you guys are swing traders, please have a separate account for swing trading. And if you guys have a day trading account, once again, separate that from swing trading. Don't morph those two. You guys can see the mistake that I kind of ran into. If you guys watch my live trade, you guys will see some of the errors that took place just from going ahead and doing that. So that would be a strict rule for me going forward. We are not mixing up accounts. But nonetheless, Monday wasn't really a bad day. I traded NVIDIA and I also traded Tesla on Monday. And when I went ahead and made those trades, like I said, I really didn't sweat those days at all. And, when I set stop orders, that helps me out a lot. Those stop orders, because I'm able to manage my risk. So to go ahead, I think I mentioned in the last video, is that I don't want to lose my max loss of the day has to be between 3 and 5%. And that's exactly what it was. It was at the very peak. It was at 5.5% of my account when I lost on Monday. But I felt good about that day because I managed my risk. I had stop orders, as I mentioned. So when things pulled back against me, it was like, hey, you know what? This day is not working the best out for me. I'm able to walk away and I can live to trade another day. So that was the greatest thing about Monday. Now, from Tuesday to Wednesday, that's where I kind of went ahead and bounced back a bit. And I was kind of getting my footing in the market. So I focused on scaling into my positions, taking it easy. Tuesday, I did not go ahead and record. Tuesday, I do not do live trades. But I think on Tuesday, I traded NVIDIA, if I'm not mistaken. Caught a nice little to move up, made $147, as you guys can see. It's right here again. I'm going to go ahead and put the pop-up. But that was a really nice day on Tuesday. And I know it didn't beat out the losses that I made on Monday, but it beat out some of those losses. You know what I mean? And then also too, I had a swing position in play. I actually made a little bit more on that Tuesday, but because of the swing position that I had on Oracle, it was kind of eating away at some of that profit. So once again, have a separate account. You guys do not need to be doing a swing trade in conjunction with your day trading account. It could really go ahead and mess you up. Now it's completely different. Let's say, for example, if you buy AMD, right? That's a stock ticker. You go ahead and buy AMD, and when you buy it, you buy about 4 contracts, and you want to leave one runner, and you think it's gonna go into the next day. Then go right ahead and have that one contract left right into the next day and you can sell it. That's still a swing trade, but that's more so you just taking advantage of the move. But a swing trade is when you're actually placing a trade and you plan to hold it out for a few more days for an expected move. So this is just my recommendation, is that having two separate accounts is different, but to stretch one of your contracts out from your day trade at like one contract, maybe two, depending on your account size, that's not a bad idea if you plan to go ahead and sell it the very next day. That's still a swing trade, but I think it's just an elongated, and this is just my terminology, that is just an elongated day trade. But nonetheless, I felt very confident on Tuesday through Wednesday. And then when we look at Thursday and Friday, those are the days that, I really focused on discipline, and discipline absolutely went ahead and paid off. I saw clean setups. I went ahead and managed my position. I also sized into my positions. So with growing a small account, you need to be aggressive. You don't want to be too conservative, because the goal is to go ahead and push the account, grow the account, but you got to do it in a smart manner. If you guys watch my live trades, and when you guys do watch my live trades, which I hope you do, is that you guys will see that I'm only going in with one contract. I'm not trying to go ahead and push the gas and trying to make $1,000 in one day. If I end up making $1,000, that is magnificent. That is wonderful to do. But the plan for me is not to jump and make $1,000. The plan for me is to focus on the actual trade, understand what I'm reading from the charts, from the level 2, from the time and sales, seeing how the catalyst is moving the markets, understanding the trend of the market, and that will go ahead and allow me to gain somewhat of edge in the market. I know some other people don't like to use the word edge, but just give me some type of inkling on where I could go ahead and take things to put myself in the best probability setup, where I could go ahead and make some money. So those days between Tuesday and Wednesday, taking it easy, not allowing the loss on Monday to affect me. I actually embraced that loss on that Monday. And then when Tuesday came, it was still the same thing. Just, go ahead and take it easy. I'm going to read you guys some of my notes, because what I do after every trading session is that I look at my live trades. And when I look at my live trades, I see my body language. So I go ahead and check on my emotions. I go ahead and check on what did I do right, what did I do wrong. So I have columns when I write things down, right? And those columns is basically what I did well, what I didn't do well, and my emotions. And once I go ahead and take a review on that, I want to go ahead and create a new format for the next day where I can learn from my mistakes and get better every day. So some people know me in my life. I used to play collegiate football, tried to go professional, played a lot of sports. And what we did in football, especially college football, the pros do it as well. If you guys watch sports, you guys get to see what some of these athletes talk about in the interviews, is that sports is that you need to go ahead and watch film, right? And when you watch film, you either get to study your opponent, or you get to study what the team is doing. You get to study your plays. You get to see what went right in the game, what went wrong in the game. And that's the same thing with trading. When you are, I think I do recommend everybody to record themselves. You don't have to do a live stream like I'm doing, but I recommend that you record yourself and just see your body language. Record the screen. Record the screen as well, and see yourself enter trades and exit trades, and then analyze, why did you get into that trade? Why did you get out of that trade? And then that will help you see, okay, this is what I'm doing wrong here. I need to go ahead and do better over here. So when I was trading this week, after every trading session, after every live, I sat down and I went ahead and I looked through those things. And that gave me so much insight on what I need to improve on. And we can see how later on in the week where, I think my biggest day this week was $451. That is huge. And then to come back on Friday to make $273, which Friday I should have made more, but that is okay. That's where you go ahead and build a better process, right? And I want to say this other thing as well, is that swing trading. You guys, if you guys look at one of the days that I traded, I think this was a Wednesday, I traded Meta. I made a high of like $888. You guys will see that on the stream. I didn't cash out that whole position, but what really killed that position the most, right, was I had a swing position. So I just want to go back to that point in terms of please do not mix up your swing trading with your day trading. Have a separate account if that's what you want to do. but I recommend if you're a new trader, focus on one thing, right? Focus on, hey, if you want to be a swing trader, you're going to focus on that. If you want to be a day trader, focus on that. And then, you could eventually grow your knowledge and branch out from there. But some of the key to lessons this week that was imperative to me that I feel like will be very, very important to you guys is that you got to respect your stop loss. You don't want to move your stop loss too much, right? And if the trade is going in your direction, then you want to move that stop, right, to break even. You guys will also see that on the live trades. That makes your trading that much more easy for you. That makes you be at ease. Like you don't stress when you do stuff like that, right? It puts you in a good position for you to go ahead and take another trade and live to trade for another day, right? And also this week I focused on process over P&L. I didn't really care how much money I was gonna make. I really mainly cared about not losing money, because the more you focus on not losing money is the more that you will go ahead and actually go ahead and make money. So I was having this conversation on my stream this past Friday, and it was about defense, right? In every sport that if you guys like to play sports, in every sport there's offense. You have to score. If you're playing basketball, the whole point of basketball is to score. If you're playing football, the whole point is to score. But what people forget is about defense, because defense is not highlighted. Defense is not the pizzazz. That's not the the glamorous part of the game. It's the rugged part of the game. It's the boring part of the game. But that part of the game is actually what helps you win the game. That part of the game is what creates you to be, that part of the game creates, I'm trying to use the right word, it creates some type of stability, right, for the rest of the game. Because if your defense is solid, then your offense can work. If your offense is solid, then your defense should be able to step. You want to have a balance between the two. You don't want one to outweigh the other. Trading, when we talk about process is also in alignment with playing defense, with going ahead and protecting yourself, which that aligns with setting the stop loss. So with me, you guys will also see what type of stocks I trade. I'm trading the mega caps. I'm not trading the small caps. I'm not putting myself in less liquid markets. I'm putting myself in markets that are very liquid, where the technicals actually play a part in the day, and I'm not really getting and I'm not really running into like slippage. So I like to be careful with what I trade, because the point of this is to be consistent in the market, and that's what I want to go ahead and be, is consistent. So this week of trading, we can see I made a high of $596, right? Even with that loss on to Monday, but I went ahead and I overcame that. So that also goes to the point of, don't let the losses affect you. The losses is just a part of the game. You got to be okay with that. Every business owner, right, they come with losses. Sometimes you may open up a brick and mortar store and you may sell your products. You may have a good week, but the following week or maybe the following month, you might not get as many sales. So you're probably taking a loss because you're, ordering inventory still. So you're spending more than you're, gaining, but you might have, a solid month, a solid week where you could go ahead and reclaim those losses, right? So this is really a game that we want to go ahead and keep our mental strong, keep our mental intact, and we don't want to derail ourselves all because, oh my gosh, I lost 200. I got to go fight to make that 200 back. You do not. Close the computer. If you're at your 3 to 5% loss of the day, just get out of there. Don't look at trading as a get-rich-quick scheme. This is a slow and steady pace, either a side hustle or maybe some of you want to make this your main hustle. I don't recommend that. Please have something else going for yourself. But it's not like this can't be a full thing or like a full-time thing. It can be, but it needs to come with like strict discipline along the journey. So let me go ahead and read some of my notes. I did read this on my live stream, but I'm going to read that day that I went ahead and lost. I'm going to read some of the notes of that loss, right? And there were some things that I did well. And funny enough, I know you guys can't see this very, very clearly, but I have more. This is my what I did well side. This is what in the middle is what I didn't do well, and on this side is the emotions, right? And what I have here, even though that it's a loss, what I have here in the middle, I don't have much notes inside the middle in terms of what I did not do well, and I'm going to explain that to you. But to start off with what I did well, even with the day of the loss, was that I followed my rules. I kept my stop orders. I did not move my stop orders. I kept my stop orders there for me to go ahead, right, and be able to just take the loss. I didn't want to just move it because I had a set risk. It was $50. I'm okay with losing 50. I'm not okay with losing 1,000. I'm not okay with losing 500. I'm gonna try my best not to go ahead and lose something like that. So really, that loss of the day was in terms of day trading. That loss of the day was 245. But because I had a swing position, it led to that $335 loss that you guys see, right? I managed my risk well. Go back and watch that trade on September 29th. I managed my risk, in my opinion, and my rules with how I go ahead and see the markets. I was patient, right? I didn't jump in right at the market open. I allowed myself to read price action, and then boom, you know what I mean? I just went ahead and I felt like I managed my risk well. And once again, I'm reading the things that I did well on the day that I lost, right? I held on to my winning, let me see, I put it here, I held on to my winning trade for a stronger move and kept it to target. So I guess I made profit on this day too. I didn't watch the whole thing. Like, I did watch it like that same day. Hence, I have a whole report on it. I don't remember. I would have to watch it again. But so I guess I had a winning trade and I held that to my target. So that was pretty nice. I was willing to take a loss too. So that's another thing that I put here that I did well. And I stress that. I think a lot of traders go ahead and stress that, is that be willing to take a loss. It's okay to take a loss. Now, what I didn't do well was I was too aggressive on my second trade with NVIDIA. Too many contracts. So I say with a small account, be aggressive, but you want to be calculated with your aggressive ads, right? You don't want to just add because you're making money on a trade. Have a reason on why you're adding. Did we break to new highs? Did we cross a moving average? Did we get above VWAP? Did we fall below VWAP? What is your tactic, right? Have a strategy. Don't just go ahead and add to a position because you're up on a position. That can lead to something bad for you, because then now your cost average has changed. So it means your stop loss needs to change. So you got to go ahead and put that into perspective there. Some of the emotions that I did notice when I watched the recording on that Monday of trading on September 29th was that I was calm. I wasn't stubborn. And let me see. I put here eager. I don't know what I put that for, but I was eager. And I think I was eager in terms of being aggressive on those plays, right? I was eager to make more money. So I like the fact that I was calm. I like the fact that I wasn't stubborn, right? Because I didn't move my stops, anything like that. But what did creep up on me was thinking about P&L, right? And with thinking about P&L, that led me to be a bit eager to go ahead and add into that position. So what are some action items that I wanted to go ahead and focus on after that trading session? The action items was, the action item next was stick to one contract, right, until confirmation presents itself for me to add. So that was my action plan, and you guys saw how that played a part later on in the week. We did that on Apple. I did that on Apple. I did that on Apple on Friday. I waited for confirmation. I waited for a wick to show that I could use that as a stop. I was already up on one contract. I think I added another 4 contracts, so I had a total of 5. I made a nice move, and that was just a good trade right there, man. So I like that in terms of that was my loss day. And see, I could talk about loss and feel good about it. I want you guys to go ahead and do the same thing. Now I'm going to go ahead and read some notes on what I did good, right? And let's go with, I'm going to talk about the nice one, the 451, right? The 451 that I made. So some things that I did well on that day was I continued pre-market prep, right? Assessing all aspects and to give myself somewhat of an edge or somewhat of a positive outlook on the day. Pre-market preparation. The biggest thing is that a lot of people, like in football, for example, or in sports, they go ahead and they focus on the game. Or what spectators do. Spectators think it's game time. He or she's about to go ahead. He or she's about to go ahead and have a monster game and do something spectacular. That's not really the case, right? The thing about when we play sports or when we jump into trading, the real success comes. I'm trying to say this right. The real success comes in the off hours. The success does not come the day of. right? When you prepare, when you study, when you take your time, when you do the things that I'm showing you that I'm doing, I know some people like to go on Notion, do whatever works for you. I'm kind of old school. I like to write things down. It sticks to me way better than putting it on something that's digital. But when I go ahead and I write things down, as I mentioned, it just clicks to my mind a little bit more. And when I'm looking at the pre-market, right, I'm there to assess and see all aspects of that chart. Where are the levels? Where's the sellers? Where are the buyers? Where were the previous sellers? Where were the previous buyers? Did we double bottom off of a level? Did we double bottom off of a level previously? Can we use that same level as an advantage now in the current trading session? So that is what helped me so much, right? Pre-market prep. So that is one of the key things that you gotta do when the market opens, right? Checking for news, checking how it may impact the trading day. That was another thing I did good when I made $451. The next thing I wrote here was seeing stocks if they are out of range or if they're within the range. Now, what do I mean by out of range or in range? You got the previous day's activity. Is the stock trading above previous day's activity, or is the stock trading within previous day's activity? If the stock is trading outside of previous day's activity, ask yourself the question: will the stock or does the stock want to come back down into that previous activity? Go ahead and look at Tesla on, I think, October 2nd or October 3rd. Go ahead and watch what Tesla did. Tesla traded back into the range, right? So when you ask yourself questions, right, when you assess the market, you can go ahead and give yourself a better advantage to go ahead and make some money, right? And I think what's also helping me is trading and going live. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. This journey, like for me to show you guys my trades, be vulnerable. This journey, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little nervous about it, but this is helping me out too. I'm not one of these gurus that's out here. Trust me, I got a do-rag on. I'm not, and this is not to throw any, I'm just saying who I am. I'm a black guy from the Bronx, New York. It is what it is. And I got nothing to sell you guys. But me teaching you guys is really, really helping me out. Me teaching you guys and going along this journey, I feel like is one of the best ways to learn for me and for you guys to learn, because we're doing it together. If you guys would like to join me on this journey, which I hope you guys consistently and continue to do, is that, when we can teach each other, we can learn the best, But if we're by ourselves, if we're doing things alone, it's going to be a long ride. It's not like you can't learn, because trust me, I did a lot of this by myself. I've met people along the way. I'm not saying I didn't get any assistance, any help, but 90% of this is all me. But I'm still learning. So I want to go ahead and bring knowledge to you guys, and I'm willing to take knowledge from you guys as well. But this is all to build a community. So I think teaching is also helping me go ahead and do better in my trading. Emotions that I felt that day was confident, and I was not overconfident, and also I had patient behavior. See, when I mentioned not being overconfident, is the thing about it is that to be overconfident leads to big losses, or something bad will come down the pipeline for you if you go ahead and get too overconfident in this career. But at the same time, you want to be confident, right? Confidence allows you to go ahead and take those trades. Confidence allows you to go ahead, when you've prepared and practiced, allows you to go ahead and make solid profits in the future. But when you're overconfident, then that's when you start to over leverage. That's when you start to increase your contract size or your share size, and you start to shoot for higher profits, when it's not about the profit, it's about the process. The process will naturally bring the profits. Trading is all about, do you care about, now it's not about being right, but do you care about the craftsmanship? This is how I look at it. Do you care about the craftsmanship on reading the charts, understanding the candles, seeing the price action, seeing the level 2, looking at the order book? You got to like this. If you don't like it, this is not going to be for you, man. Anything you do in life, you got to like it. You got to fall for some type of love and passion for it. For me, I love it. It just reminds me of being on the field when I used to read the defenses, because I used to play receiver and I could see if the linebacker is blitzing, and instead of me doing my original route, I could probably cut my route short. I'm getting real football technical now, and I could go ahead and give a better read for my quarterback. So it's the same thing in the markets. If I'm reading a candle and it's an indecision candle, but then the next candle coming, we get a nice engulfing. Now we got a direction. I get confirmation with the next candle. I could go in one contract, then we break a technical level. I could add into a position. You guys can see how my mind works just with how I'm speaking about this, right? I'm speaking about it from a passionate place because I do have a passion for this. So these are the things that I'm saying to you guys that will go ahead and bring your trading to the next level. And this is what I feel, and you guys will watch me bring my trading to the next level, because if I'm doing this, I would hope that you guys are doing the same thing for yourselves. So connect with me if you need to. You know, I have my email. I don't mind doing any one-on-one coaching, and we could go ahead and learn this together. So all in all, because I could go on a complete rant, I kind of went off script on this one, but I'm happy I did. All in all, man, please go ahead, smash that like button. I would really, really appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel, join the live trades. And I'd love to see you guys on the next video. I will be back live on Monday, 5:45 a.m., and we're back at it again. Lives will be on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. No Tuesdays. And I think we could go ahead and find some success going forward. Other than that, man, peace, everybody. All love, and see you guys again.